welcome to episode 111 of Tim Talk, the podcast about the DC animated universe co-created by Bruce Timm. I'm Chris Lord.
I'm Cameron Dexter.
And Cameron, you've changed your mind slightly on Aquaman since we saw it, right? How do you feel about it now, Aquaman?
Well, I feel like the world is spiting me with how much rain we're getting. It's like, you will like this movie or you will drown.
I mean, we do live in Los Angeles. We're not prepared for this.
We are not.
We very well may drown today. But we'll die podcasting.
Yeah, yes, I'm not as angry as I was walking out of the theater.
Okay.
I'm still not a big fan, but I've come to appreciate it a little bit more.
Okay. Well, was one of your favorite parts of the movie the sequence with the trench?
Clearly.
Because apparently we're getting a spin-off of it.
Great.
Like, this is just a rumor, and this came from the Hollywood Reporter, but I guess they do have a couple writers on board to start working on it, and they've confirmed that James Wan will be producing it, for whatever iteration this thing will actually end up being. He's going to produce it, but like none of the principal cast will be back.
Is it just going to be like a movie in pitch black because they can't do light?
They can't do light? I don't know. I mean, it's supposed to be like a horror movie based off the characters of The Trench.
Well, I mean, like, I get him pushing for horror because that's his genre.
Yeah, but I don't think this. I doubt this is James Wan producing.
Yeah,
like really pushing for this.
Honestly,
this sounds like desperation on Warner Brothers' part.
Yeah, because based off a conversation we're going to have later in this episode, I would love if they would do like they could do Starro as a horror movie.
Oh, that could
kind
be cool.
of the brainwash aspect of that.
Yeah,
and like I could definitely see James Wan playing with that kind of suspense and thriller.
Mm-hmm.
And that fits in Aquaman. Like
yeah.
Usually we find Starro in either space or in the water.
Underwater. That's actually a really good idea because this just sounds.
Thank you.
I mean, I think you should just go work for Warner Brothers. I think you could single-handedly save them at this point.
I mean, I could be their Kevin Feige. And by that, it's just only Green Lantern movies.
Just nothing but Green Lantern. Well, also Red Lantern movies.
Orange
Lantern
the whole
movies,
lantern spectrum.
All the lanterns, all the colors of the lanterns will be up there.
I would build up to their version of Endgame would definitely be Blackest Night.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a much better way to go because I don't see the fucking point of
have
this.
Everyone die.
Yeah. This is just like the dumbest idea from a company that is basically known for doing a lot of really dumb ideas.
Yeah.
I mean, you said this a long time ago that it seems like they're literally just announcing things just to see what sticks.
Well, did you see the thing I posted to Tim Talk the other day? To the story?
I think I may have. I forget. Remind me, though. Let's say I didn't.
Sorry. Someone made a post. It came from, if you're not following the Great Maids page on Facebook, I recommend it.
Yes.
But it came from there, and someone made a graph or a graphic of all of the movies they've announced and what stage of production they're in.
Oh my God, that must be a huge graphic.
Yeah, well, it's only ones that have some component. Okay. So they broke it up between if it has a writer, director, or a main cast selected. So the ones they mentioned are Flash, Lobo, Justice League Dark. I'll go through it with what they have. Mm-hmm. So Flash has a writer, director, and cast. The last time it was updated was November 15th, 2018. Lobo has a director. Justice League Dark has a writer. Cyborg has an actor. Black Adam has a writer and actor. Green Lantern Corps has a writer. Aquaman 2 has a director. Gotham City Sirens, which I think we can just assume has fallen off and is now.
I think so. Yeah, I think they're just doing
Birds of Prey.
Yeah,
that had a director and cast. Deadshot has an actor. Nightwing has a writer and director. Batgirl has a writer. What is this one? Harley and Joker has a writer and cast. New Gods has a director. Joker has an actor. Supergirl has a writer. Blue Beetle has a writer. Plastic Man has a writer. Deathstroke has an actor. Black Hawk has a writer. And JL2 and Man of Steel 2 are both unclear.
My God. What a mess.
And that's not even everything.
What a goddamn mess.
Yeah.
Ugh. I mean, whatever. Like, what does it matter at this point?
I know.
Like, the thing is, we will see all of them. We will hate ourselves for doing it.
We'll
probably
walk
hate
out
the movies.
feeling worse.
and then we'll still talk about it. We'll
Yeah.
see about the next one they do because they've roped us in.
Yeah.
It's this horrible abusive relationship we now have with that goddamn company.
I mean, yeah, we've said it a few times before. It's a bubble that's just going to keep growing. And I used to see a popping point, but I don't see it anymore.
No.
I thought Infinity War was going to be the bubble burst, but I'm like, fuck, no, it's not
No.
even close.
No, because now I think Warner Brothers is going to just double down on their independent films. They're going to stop doing the continuous universe thing, which is probably for the best.
Well, actually, no. I thought not a hole, not a pop, but maybe like a hole in the bubble was going to be Venom.
Oh,
And we
right.
fucking saw it wasn't, because goddamn fanboys are up their ass of like, it's not that bad. Fuck you, it's that bad.
It's terrible. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It was one of the worst movies I saw last year. It was not the worst, but don't worry, Warner Brothers still has ownership of that title for me.
Yep.
God damn it.
Aquaman.
It was fine. It was fine. My God. But we can look forward to that Trench spinoff in 2022 or some
Oh
shit.
boy.
Who even knows? I mean, otherwise, there really wasn't a lot of news this week. There was a little bit of reporting on what the Pennyworth show is going to look like, because now that Gotham's over, they're going to do a even further prequel,
Great.
which I don't think it's set in the same universe as Gotham, but who knows? It very well may be. But apparently, it's just going to be about Alfred, a young Alfred, and a young Thomas Wayne forming a security company in London together. And it won't feature any Batman villains, so they say now.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
I'm sure Roz will pop up. I bet Roz or Vandal Savage will be like the overarching villain.
Yeah, they'll probably show up at some point.
Vandal Savage is definitely like
He's
key
gonna
for
go
that.
there. Yeah, because otherwise, apparently, it's just gonna feature like other like public domain characters, like a descendant of Jack the Ripper or something.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be like, what's the exact quote here? It's gonna be unhinged, an
Great.
unhinged R-rated drama.
Of course it is.
It's probably gonna be on like just on cable TV. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be terrible.
I could see. I mean, if they didn't say it was gonna be R-rated, I could see it as being kind of a newer or kind of an updated version of Green Hornet.
Oh, good old Green Hornet.
Yeah,
That movie.
I really enjoyed that movie.
I kind of had fun with it. I loved Green Hornet as a character. Like I used to watch the 60s TV show a lot as a kid, and
Bruce Lee.
good old Bruce Lee and Van Williams, and the Black Beauty is amazing. So I love they brought back that same car in the new movie, but it definitely had some issues. It definitely didn't work quite perfectly.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
That's a movie. I want to revisit that. It's been a
I
while.
kind of
since
do
I've
as
seen that
well.
movie.
Actually, like I want to go back and see like, is this just as forgettable as it seems like it was? Because
Yeah.
I've forgotten it. But I feel like there was some good stuff in there, right?
Yeah, I feel like there were some good action scenes.
Like the Cato Vision thing was kind of clever. Mm-hmm. It's still so weird that movie was directed by Michel Gondry, though.
Is
So he
it?
directed Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Okay.
And he's known for doing a lot of very surreal movies and music videos and stuff. And it's just such a weird blip.
The weird news that I learned this week, kind of on that note, which you probably know, but I just found out about it, and it really took me by surprise, is that Matilda was directed by Danny DeVito.
Oh, I did read that
I had
recently.
no idea.
Yeah. Have you revisited that in a while?
I don't think I've ever seen Matilda.
Really? That's
Yeah,
surprising. That seems like
I
it'd be very much
know.
in your wheelhouse.
There were two that kind of escaped me as a kid. It was Harriet the Spy
Okay.
and Matilda. I never got around to watching.
Yeah, I've seen Harriet the Spy. And I saw Matilda, but I don't remember really.
I was too busy
Either of them.
watching the Richie Rich sequel without Macaulay Culkin.
Was it like the Richie Rich Christmas or whatever?
Oh yeah,
God damn
Richie
it.
Rich's Christmas Wish.
I don't know how to help you.
Not to be
Like, you
confused
just-
with Wacko's Christmas Wish or
You
Yakko's Christmas Wish.
You just keep digging yourself into a deeper and deeper hole.
Have you seen Wacko's Christmas Wish? Because
I
that's actually a
haven't.
good one.
I've heard. I mean, it's the Animaniacs. I love the Animaniacs. I haven't watched that. I'm far more likely to watch that than I am the Richie Rich Christmas Wish.
Watching like Blank Check.
Also, Richie Rich's Christmas Wish is very hard to say.
It is. So is Wacko's Christmas Wish.
Wacko's Christmas Wish. I feel like that's a little bit easier. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are some of those that I do kind of want to go back and revisit. Like, I haven't seen Richie Rich in a long time. I kind of want to see how well that holds up.
It doesn't.
It does. Did you watch it recently?
I've not, but I'm just assuming.
Oh, that's right. Wait, you've never seen
I've
the
never
Macaulay
seen
Culkin? Now we have to watch it.
Now we have to watch
Now
it.
We have to.
I'm all right with that.
I love how I'm always giving you shit for watching bad movies and forcing you to watch the bad ones you still haven't seen.
Hey, I gotta be a well-rounded, shitty movie watcher.
I just want to make sure you're consistent.
Yeah.
At all times on these things.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's called character development.
I don't understand.
No.
And I guess the only other bit of news was we got the teaser trailer, or I guess the full-on trailer for Justice League versus the Fatal Five.
Yes.
The potential new entry in the DC animated universe. I think most people are considering it basically there. I think I even saw Matty Washburn post something from Sam Liu where he basically said like it is and it isn't. Like it kind of came from the mind of Bruce Timm, but it's also its own thing. So it's like Batman or Harley Quinn. It's a loose canon.
Yeah.
It's
the loose canon.
it's the loose canon of canon.
It's the cop that doesn't play by the rules of the DCAU.
It's a loose unit, that movie.
Yeah.
I don't. It looks
It's really
good,
much
though.
the Dirty Harry of the DCAU. Or any Clint Eastwood film between 1962 and 1980.
It's not the Paint Your Wagon Clint Eastwood movie.
Clearly not.
I mean, it looks good. I'm
Yeah.
pretty excited about it. It's probably gonna be fine. I mean, just like Batman or Harley Quinn, it was fine. Mm-hmm. I think it's probably gonna be better than the rest of the New 52 verse stuff they've been putting out. So
Yeah, I feel like they're allowed to play more when they're not in that style.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm more excited about. It's
Also,
just not seeing that
I
style.
mean, I hate to just like bash on a group of people that are really trying to do their best, but also just like the voice performances in the New 52 stuff is really flat. And maybe just because we're so used to the great voice work that came out of the DCAU and all those actors, and maybe this is the sign of missing someone like Andrea Romano. Not to say that their new voice director isn't competent. I'm sure that person, whoever they are, is. But it's just it lacks the punch. I think of the older stuff. That's one of the things I still liked about Batman or Harley Quinn was it's definitely got some weird stuff in there and some less than progressive moments around Harley.
Don't know what you're talking about.
But in general, the voice performances are really good. I mean, it's Kevin Conroy, Lauren Lester. You can't go wrong.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we also have the problem of putting on those nostalgia glasses.
Yeah, well, we're also right in the thick of it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So, but I mean, I'm excited about it. It should be good, hopefully.
As we say about all DC properties.
As we keep saying, I think we have slightly more hope in this than we have in other stuff. But we've come to the end of Batman Beyond Season 2.
Yes.
I think a fantastic episode.
I really enjoyed this. I was skeptical when I read the synopsis. We watched Ace in the Hole, which is an Ace-centered episode.
Which sounds like the recipe for disaster.
Yes, because I also forgot that was the name of the dog, and I was thinking Royal Flush Gang.
Oh, that Ace?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I'm like, wasn't he a robot?
He's a robot? Is it the robot or the dead girl?
Yeah.
So it's probably not the latter.
Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, right, it's the dog.
But I mean, it is a really good episode.
It is.
So because the other thing we're gonna be
It's a
talking
real 22nd century Homeward Bound.
It is. It's so sad. I had a very traumatic cartoon morning because I also finally finished my rewatch
did.
of Young Justice, which we'll be talking about in this podcast
so
as well.
sorry.
So I had to deal with both Where's Wally
Oh God, it still hurts.
and on
just
top of
hearing
that,
it,
and then on top of that, we get to this episode of Ace getting lost. And it's like, it's not even just Ace getting lost, but also his backstory, which is tragic in of itself. And even though they framed it around the context of Bruce's parents dying too.
Yeah.
Like I was watching this and I had full on tears going. It was not quite Wrath of Khan level, but it was substantial.
So there's an episode of Avatar that I didn't realize is very much kind of based in this episode.
Okay.
It's called Appa's Lost Days in season 2.
Okay.
So if you have you seen the, I always forget. Have you seen the show or have you only seen it
I've never
once?
seen any of it.
Okay. So Appa is their pet flying bison.
Oh, okay. I do know who that is. I
Yes.
think.
He's a pretty central character, voiced by D.
Yes.
Bradley Baker.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's not voiced, but noised by D. Bradley Baker.
So I mean, D. Bradley Baker does Ace as well.
Oh,
I
does he
think.
really?
I think. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, he is just kind of the animal, or like the creature guy.
Yeah. Well, it used to be Frank Welker who did Scooby Doo, and now it's D. Bradley Baker.
Yeah.
I'll double check this. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I've met him a few times. He's a wonderful, wonderful man.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But in the episode...
Oh no, sorry. It is Frank Welker.
Okay.
Continue.
in the episode, or not in that one, but earlier in the season, Appa is kidnapped by some sandbenders, and kind of the minor story arc for the next 10 episodes is them trying to find their pet. And so in the middle of that, we get an episode solely about what Appa's been up to since he was kidnapped.
Okay.
And it's very heartbreaking because it's kind of the same thing. It's like he always just misses them.
Oh.
It's like he was sold to a circus, and then he's also the last of his kind.
Okay.
Because all the other flying bisons were killed by the Fire Nation. And so he's kind of a treasure for a lot of people. So he's sold to a circus. He escapes. He's attacked by like another creature, and is saved by one of their one of the Avatar's friends. And then he's attacked by the Fire Nation, and it's just like, poor guy is just like getting beat up, and it ends in the most heartbreaking. So they're in this giant city called Ba Sing Se, and the other pet is named Momo. He's a meerkat.
Okay.
A flying meerkat.
Do any animals not fly in the Avatar universe?
Basically everything from the Air Nation can fly.
Okay.
Or the air nomads can fly.
Okay.
But
all the animals from the Fire Nation like pee fire or something?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
They have like basically giant lizards are their go-to animal.
Okay. What do the lizards do? Do they have any sort of special?
It depends on what kind. Usually they're just like giant and you ride them, and they're kind of like their version of horses.
Okay.
Some of them can run on water for some reason.
Do they look like that big weird dragon lizard thing from episode 3 when Obi-Wan Kenobi is on Utapau?
Yes, it's very much Komodo dragon based.
Okay, but these ones fly. No.
No.
They just run.
They run, and I think they breathe fire.
Okay. Of course.
Because of course they do.
They have to.
But the episode ends with the other pet, Momo, finding a tuft of Appa's hair or fur in Ba Sing Se, and he's like, he kind of cuddles with it, and it zooms out, and it's his footprint, and so he's in the city of like, oh, they're together, like they're so close. He's here somewhere.
Yeah.
And then you gotta wait like 2 more episodes.
Oh, those monsters.
I know.
Yeah. I was trying to find a segue back.
No, sorry.
I can't do it.
I have to talk about whenever the opportunity arises. I have to talk about Avatar.
Aren't you happy though? I just let you go.
Thank you.
I know. I mean, I was kind of paying attention to you as well.
Yeah, because it's a good episode. Like the Ace one is good.
I do.
But then the
thing
Appa
is,
one is.
I do really love a good bottle episode like this. I think oftentimes they don't work. But when they do, they really work.
Yeah.
Like, you think about Rats from the season of Batman Beyond when Dana is down with like the weird rat boy thing.
Yeah.
Like that one doesn't work particularly well. I mean, bless their heart for trying to give Dana more to do, and they kind of try. But overall, the episode's just not great. I think this one's actually like pretty solid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because basically the whole thing is that when Terry takes Bruce to a chiropractic appointment, he takes Ace for a walk, and Ace sees this guy who we later reveal is named
Something Boxer.
Ronnie Boxer.
Ronnie Boxer.
And so Ace chases after him, and in the process gets lost. So Terry needs to track down Ace, but before he can do that, Bruce is insistent that he figures out what's up with this random guy and why this guy had a supposedly destroyed gun. He possessed a gun that was supposed to have been destroyed in like the police impound and wasn't, or evidence lock, whatever, it wasn't.
Yeah.
So, but we don't even know what this guy's up to. So it did feel like a little bit manufactured, that was just their way of like not just having it be Terry going after Ace. But it is sad because as he's flying around the city, like Ace keeps spotting the Batmobile and like just missing out.
Yeah.
And like the animal control attempt to capture him, but bless their hearts, it's just not going to happen. Ace is resourceful.
He's a fighter.
He's a fighter. Well, and that's the sad thing we learn is we get his whole backstory about how he was.
But in that, we get Puppy Ace.
We
Which
get
I
Puppy
think
Ace.
Balances out the sad with the cute.
It is super cute, and they are tactful in how they show the past and not having it too bad. Like we see, because the whole thing was that Ronnie bought Ace off of like a corrupt animal control guy to be trained as a fighting dog. And so we see Ronnie training Ace, and he like grabs the newspaper, rolls it up, and we think he's gonna hit Ace, which he doesn't.
Right.
He's gonna pokes him until Ace shreds the newspaper.
I find that so amusing dog abuse. the idea that we can show kids getting hit in children cartoons, but the second an animal comes out, it's like you can't lay a finger on him.
No, it's so much sadder.
Yeah.
Like,
The line of how far you can go with abuse is so different between animals and humans.
yes. I was thinking back to I think it was Mad Love, one of the new Batman Adventure episodes when I think it's Bruce like kicks one of the hyenas off of him, one of Joker's hyenas. And Joker's like, "Hey, I don't hit your kids."
Yeah.
Actually, wait, I do. We can hit the hyenas, we can't hit the dogs.
Right.
But I guess Ronnie used like this like electric shock glove on him. Now it seems like Ace never actually is in a fight. It looks like he's about ready to have his first dog fight when the police raid it and he escapes. But when he escapes, he runs out into like the alleys of Gotham and he comes across Bruce there laying flowers, presumably for the anniversary of his parents' death.
Yes, with a very shitty limo driver.
Yeah, so like this is clearly well before Terry, and he just has hired some random guy to drive him around who's just awful at his job.
Yeah.
And just lets Bruce go wandering by himself. Like that guy, how long do you think that guy had that job?
I honestly didn't think it was like his actual assistant. I feel like he just called a cab.
But he's in his own limo. That is
Yeah.
Bruce's limo. So I feel like that guy maybe was employed for. I feel like he got fired after this.
I feel like they would just. He was like the temp at Wayne Powers.
Oh, like
And they
just,
kind of like cycle between temps and interns of like, you gotta go drive the boss around.
yeah, you got to go drive the old man around. No one wants that job.
It's like
Go to all these weird
I'm like,
alleyways.
I know we give you a lot of shit work to do, and this is the shittiest of all the
This is
jobs.
worst.
But it comes with the responsibility. You have to drive him once.
You drew the straw.
Yeah,
Have fun with this.
yeah. I'm so sorry.
Take him to run down old parts of Gotham.
He's crazy.
Yeah, he kind of is.
He's gonna have a cane. Just make sure you're well out of that distance.
yeah, keep outside of
he
cane,
will
cane range.
Yeah, he knows how to use that thing.
Well, that's like one of the fun parts about that scene, though, is that he does still get to be a badass because he goes to drop off the flowers, and there's a Joker who basically like harasses him and tries to extort money, and Bruce just like shoves him off. And then when Bruce's his back turned, the Joker comes back up on him, and Ace, who's been wandering around the streets, like jumps and kind of saves Bruce.
Yeah,
And then Bruce basically in turn saves him, which is a very literal version of like the who rescued who thing.
yeah.
Which is like, look, I am a huge advocate for animal rescue. Like, I feel like you should always rescue pets rather than get them from a breeder or something like that. But anytime someone posts like the who rescued who thing, it's just like the most trite, obnoxious phrase, and it makes me so mad.
Yeah. I went into the office on Friday and we spent a good 30, 45 minutes, an hour just trying to think of the best dog names we could.
What'd you come up with?
The one that I think I'm going to take if my coworker doesn't take it for the puppy she's about to adopt was Tortellini.
That's good.
I feel like it's a really cute name. You can call him Little Leany or Torty.
Aw. Torty?
I like Torty a lot.
I mean, shouldn't you honestly have a tortoise named Tortellini?
I should. I
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely
that's
should.
like that's the better option.
I also found out one of my coworkers does have a tortoise.
really?
Yeah.
What's his name?
I don't think he ever said his name. He has a tortoise, a dog, and 2 cats,
Okay.
and a newborn baby.
Oh my god.
I'm like, Jesus.
I feel like if I ever got a turtle, I would name it Shredder just to piss people.
Nice.
Just to piss people
That's
off,
good.
though. Be like, well, wait, shouldn't? But Shredder wasn't a turtle. Like, yeah, I don't care.
I know.
I know.
He's like, no, yeah.
I'm aware.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Splinter too. Either one of them.
I like Shredder because instead of even just making the reference, just be like, yeah, because he shreds the lettuce,
Yeah.
and then someone would be like, oh wait, well, what about the turtles?
The what?
What?
Who?
Yeah.
What?
Like, it's like the main villain from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That sounds ridiculous.
No, that was a rat. It's like, no, the rat was the trainer.
Named Splinter.
Named Splinter. It's like, well, that doesn't make sense.
I mean, I do love to troll people.
Yeah.
I have decided that whenever I get a dog, which won't happen until years down the line, all my dogs will be named after famous drunkards.
Drunkards?
Drunkards, like famous drunks through history.
Yeah.
It's like Winston Churchill, Peter O'Toole, Humphrey Bogart. There's so
I feel
many.
like Humphrey is a good dog
Humphrey's
name.
a really good dog name. Yeah, but also I love the idea of having a dog named Peter.
Peter.
Yeah, it's my dog Peter. Peter O'Toole. I pour whiskey in his bowl every day.
Peter O'Drool.
Oh, yep. Yes. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. Do I need to have pun?
Yes.
Okay, wait. So if we got Peter O'Drool, what would you do for Winston Churchill?
I don't know. I was thinking about Humphrey. Something like maybe like Humphrey Bobark.
Ooh, yep. I'm on board. Humphrey Bobark.
Winston Churchill.
I don't know. If you think of a good dog-based Winston Churchill pun name,
I mean,
Write to us.
My mind is going to if you get a wiener dog, and it'd be like Wiener Churchill, but that
could
doesn't.
work.
It's not as good.
I'll
It's
think
not
on
really
it.
punny. That's just a
No,
bad.
yeah,
It's
it's just bad. It's just lazy.
yeah.
I
But
refu-
that's the low hanging fruit joke.
I mean, I love low-hanging fruit jokes.
That's just
But they-
on the ground. That's not even low hanging. That's just,
It's
I just
already-
picked that joke up off the ground.
It's already rotten on the floor.
Yeah.
No, it still needs to have a good pun in there, though. Everything is better with puns. So when they find each other, though, in the streets, that is such a sad scene because we've already, I think, at least once seen Ace in the present time miss Terry, like watch the Batmobile fly off and be really sad. And then we jump back. We've seen little puppy Ace is adorable. We've been hinted at really horrible abuse to poor Ace. And then for Bruce to be there mourning his parents and then come across the dog who gets hit. And Bruce is just like, we just see his reflection in the window of the limousine as he's carrying like a limp Ace into the car. It's so fucking sad. It's like, it's not just like lost, injured dog, but also dead parents.
yeah.
It's like the saddest moment yet.
Like a lot of shit. Like he needs to stop going to that alley. Just shit happens there.
I know.
It has its name for a reason.
That's true. But I mean, if he hadn't gone, he wouldn't have met Ace.
That's true.
He wouldn't have his Ace. Now, I wonder. I mean, he must have given Ace the name Ace.
Yeah.
I wonder what if the dog had a name before when he was gonna be a prize
I
fighter.
feel like you don't. I mean, I don't know for certain, but I feel like they don't name.
You don't
the dogs
name-
they fight with.
But then, how do you differentiate them?
Point. That one. Come here. You.
Hey, you.
Hey, you.
Hey, you dog.
Yeah.
Watch it. They all just come running up to you.
God damn it.
I mean,
We need a
even
better system.
even the dogs in Up had names.
It's true.
Yeah.
But they weren't bred to fight.
No, but they were utility dogs.
Yeah. They still name utility dogs. Because usually, I mean, it's going to the negative side of dog fighting, usually when they lose, you just kind of toss them.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's why you don't give them names because you don't want the emotional attachment.
This is all so sad.
This is life, Chris.
I can't handle this. But so
This is real world problems we're dealing with right here.
I refuse. I'm just gonna dive further into cartoons.
No, this is only a cartoon problem.
Why are all these cartoons making me cry?
Because we're weak and we're in a very weak and feeble state right now.
That's true. I think I'm just perpetually emotionally broken. I'm waiting for things to set me off.
Well, it's like the tweet from a few years ago that's now famous, but it's my favorite one to quote. Of I like to start my what is it, mid-year or midlife crisis now because I never know when I'm actually going to die.
Oh god. That's true.
Yeah.
Maybe I haven't yet had my midlife crisis. Maybe I've missed it.
Yeah, you missed your opportunity.
I mean, we've already established that we're going to drown today
Yeah,
from the torrential rains of Los Angeles.
yeah, these puddles coming from the sky.
But yeah, so we have that flashback sequence. I mean, that's. Do you think that's one of the best moments we've had so far in Batman Beyond? The scene where they find each other in the alleyway.
That was really good. For season 2, yeah, it's definitely the best moment of season 2.
So we're not going to do our short list this week because none of us came prepared to do it.
No.
But I kind of briefly looked back at season 2. Season 2, there's kind of a lot of stinkers, actually. I feel like season 1 was pretty solid. And we're going to get some really exciting expansions in season 3. Like, we're going to spend a lot of time with Cobra. We're going to meet the future Justice League.
Cool, great.
Which is going to be great.
Are we going to see the Fatal 5 in time? Oh, I guess that's Justice League. Never mind.
Oh, yeah, I think we meet some of the Fatal 5 in JLU. I mean, I think probably in the episode where they go into the future with the Legion of Superheroes.
I was trying to think if we were going to get to that episode before the movie, but I don't think so.
Oh no, that's
absolutely not.
That's no, because that movie comes out in March, and that's
JLU is the last one.
The last thing we're gonna do. Yeah, we're like years off from that. But no, we're gonna see the Justice League of the Batman Beyond era, which of course we revisit again in JLU. But it's a good league.
Yeah, because it's the Green Lantern. It's the son of...
It's Warhawk.
Yeah, Warhawk, that was his name.
Yeah, so it's Warhawk, it's Green Lantern, it's Barda, Big Barda.
Yes, okay, yeah.
And Superman, and Aqua Girl, Aqua Lass, maybe?
Okay.
I think she's the daughter or granddaughter of Aquaman. I forget how that works exactly.
Gotcha.
It's a good team, though. Excited for that. But season 2 has been kind of flat. But I thought this was definitely one of the better
I feel
episodes.
like I feel like they were so focused on getting the other shows started while this was going on. Because, I mean, around this time, Static was about to start, Justice League was about to start.
Oh, that's true, actually.
Zeta was about to start.
Oh,
I'm sure that took a lot of their time.
Maybe we should start savoring this now.
Yeah.
Because even a bad episode of Batman Beyond is still Batman Beyond. Because we're going to have a few solid months of
Zeta. Great. Can't wait.
I still feel like we got to try to find a way to get that as fast as possible.
I want to, sorry for another brief tangent, because there was a major moment that happened in the anime world last week. There's been a fight sequence going on for the past, I think it was like 36 weeks. It was one fight.
In what show?
In One Piece.
Okay.
The pirate anime.
Yeah.
It's not the longest running anime, but it's the most popular anime in the world. And the fight was between this guy named Katakuri and Luffy, who's the main protagonist. And it lasted so fucking long.
Did you say 36?
36 weeks.
36 weeks. I mean,
how this one fight sequence?
How do you even put enough variety in there so that it doesn't just drag?
It's another part that kind of makes it drag. It does drag is the problem. But they both have the same power.
Oh god,
a very similar power. So he's made of rubber.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Yo ho ho, we take a bite of gum gum. It's not important. It's the theme song. It's a great theme song. I highly recommend it.
I wonder if the audience can hear my eyes rolling.
I think you just went blind with how far back they rolled.
I rolled my eyes so fast they've rolled out of my head.
Yeah.
Or under the couch now. It's gonna take you too long to get them back. We're just gonna continue.
Finish the podcast. Yeah, no. But yeah, it finally finished, and I'm just like, I've had like a nice just like breath of relief. Just like, it's done.
You had a breath of relief. Imagine the animators.
Yeah.
And everyone else who works on that show. They must be relieved.
The story arc is still going. One Piece is it's almost frustrating. They always do a great job with kind of making their stories very different from, or making their arcs very different from each other.
Yeah.
But they go on forever. Like
Clearly.
this arc alone has been about 200 episodes.
Oh my god.
For one story.
Hard pass.
Yeah.
You say things like this and then you're surprised that I have no interest in anime.
Maybe 100 episodes.
Oh,
but
well, that's
still,
far more reasonable,
isn't it? Well, this is the one that I think I told you. This is episode 835 that came out this morning, and this is the show that I caught up on from episode 1 when I was unemployed. It took me a month just to catch up.
Wait, how does the math work on that? Because they're what, 20-minute episodes? So it's 800.
This was 2 years ago, because before I got my
okay, right.
job.
So how many episodes did you catch up on then?
There were probably 600 episodes.
Okay, so you watched.
That's all I did with my time.
Wait, so there's 600 episodes. Okay, so
I'll say it took me 2 months to watch them all.
So that's 12,000 minutes.
Yeah,
of content.
When you say it like that,
but
make it sound like I'm wasting my life.
Right, I did that math right, because it's 600 multiplied by 2, would be 1,200, and then by 10, yeah, 12. Yes, 12,000. How many minutes are in a month?
Hold on. So it'll say 600 episodes times 20 minutes each. We'll do 18 minutes because I skipped the recap and the opening and the ending.
Cameron, there are 43,800 minutes in a month.
Mm-hmm.
So you spent a quarter of that time basically watching this.
That doesn't sound as bad.
When I look at it that way, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But wait, actually, no, there's different ways for me to look at this. Hang on, we're gonna break this down until you feel bad about yourself.
Okay. I mean, I always do.
So you watch 600 episodes over a 30-day period,
Mm-hmm.
which means you had to watch 20 episodes a day.
Yeah.
So you spent.
Hold on. So let's say I slept. Well, we'll be generous. Let's say I slept 7 hours a day.
Okay.
We know it's not true.
It's not true.
But I want to sound as normal as possible
Let's
for a minute.
start there.
So it's 720. No, that's not right math. So it's 30 days times 18. We'll say
What, 18?
for hours.
So you
Uh, seven.
Oh, okay.
So,
right,
yeah,
right,
so
okay,
17 hours.
Okay, yeah. So 30 days times
17 hours.
17 hours.
So and then times 60 minutes.
So you have 510 hours. Okay,
Mhm.
right. Yeah. Okay. Hang on. I'm
Yeah,
still,
so
still working on this.
30,600 minutes. 500 600 minutes.
Okay. So you have 30, basically like 30,000 minutes in a month.
Yes.
And you watched. Wait, what was the number again?
600 times 20. 12,000 hours of content.
Oh wait. No.
So half of my non-sleeping time.
Yes, just watching this.
Yes.
20 episodes a day, Cameron.
Yeah.
I think that's the best statistic we can look at this from. You watch 20 episodes of anime a day.
Yeah. And yeah, that honestly sounds like I'm lowballing it.
Probably.
Because I was still watching other stuff at the same time.
I mean, look, I get it. I've had periods in my life when like I wasn't working and I binge like Doctor Who and I just sit down and watch like almost an entire season over the course of a matter of days. I totally get that.
Yeah.
But Cameron.
Yeah, I mean, I already feel bad feel bad for what I did.
So if you reach a point again where you're unemployed, hopefully you don't, but if you do, I'm coming over and I'm taking away.
You can't take my Crunchyroll subscription.
Taking it away, Cameron.
I can't. I need it. I mean, I don't think there's another show that I like want to power through like I did then. Because like even now, like I tried to rewatch The Simpsons and I made it maybe 100, 150 episodes in before I burnt myself out.
And that was in a day. That was in one day.
And that was in a single sitting. Like I tried Smallville, burnt myself out.
Well, that's understandable. That's rough
That's a
going.
hard one.
Plus, those are full like 45-minute episodes, 40, 50-minute episodes.
Yeah, those are tough.
And most of it's bad.
Yeah.
Let's be perfectly honest.
I would do Buffy. I feel like
Okay,
I've never finished Buffy.
Yeah, same. I started it and I made it partway through season 4, I want
Okay.
to say. I need to go back and finish it out.
I would
at some
do
point.
kind of like a Buffy Angel.
Yeah, I was watching
I
them concurrently.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, the thing is that there's enough crossover, you kind of do need to watch.
Yeah,
I mean, that's part of the reason I stopped watching the Arrowverse, too. Was that,
you had to watch all of it.
yeah, that was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
4 episodes a week?
Yeah.
Hell no.
Yeah, because Black Lightning was not part of it.
Yeah. Thank God. I love they also like cap themselves off at. Well, I guess they had capped themselves off at 4, but now they're gonna have a 5th.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, guys, just stop.
I would do Cheers. I've never watched.
Cheers and Frasier.
I watched half of Frasier, but I've
Okay.
never watched Cheers.
Yeah, I've never seen Cheers either.
I would do Cheers.
The one that I've been thinking about going back to is The West Wing because I've seen bits and pieces of it
Yeah,
here and
I
there.
would do
and
West Wing.
Everyone says The West Wing's amazing, and I do love the writing of Aaron Sorkin, so I
Yeah.
feel like I should go back.
I just
to it.
want all the walk and talks, man.
Yeah, I've tried to make Sorkining a word.
That sounds sexual.
I mean, Also,
It's
given
like
that,
it's like a very bad sexual term.
I mean, given that we're talking like Aaron Sorkin, if I were to say Sorkining, one could very easily assume I meant just go do a massive pile of cocaine. But what I actually mean is like to have a walk and talk.
Yeah.
So like,
But walk and talk is so fun to say.
it is fun to say. It's got a great like alliteration, I guess rhyming, not
Yeah.
alliteration. But yeah, we'll be like at work and we're gonna go for a walk and talk. I'm like, here, yeah, let's go have a Sorkin.
You want to Sorkin with me?
You know, let's go have a Sorkin. Okay, I've changed my mind.
There-
on
there's-
this. I've immediately changed my mind.
Hey, there's an empty office down the road, down the street. Do you want or down the hall? Do you want to go Sorkin?
You have a Sorkin?
Chris, we need to talk to HR.
I've decided I'm gonna stop trying to make fetch happen on this one. It's not worth my time. But yeah, so with
Sorry, back to
Ace-
Batman.
back to Ace. He gets captured by that same corrupt animal control guy and returned back to Boxer, and Terry tracks him down to a barge where they're gonna have a dog fight. And
Well, no. First, he goes to Boxer's apartment.
oh, that's true.
And he finds that he's making growth hormones.
He's like crazy growth hormones.
Which I was kind of upset because this is kind of, we're going to talk about Young Justice in a minute. This is kind of the thing we didn't have back then, where they just threw out references to everything.
That's true.
Because I feel like this could have been, I'm surprised they didn't use Bane Venom.
I was kind of surprised by that too. I guess we're actually going to see the same growth hormone pop up again in an episode in the beginning of season 3.
Okay.
But I thought that too. I was really waiting for it to be Venom, and I guess they've already revisited Venom, but I still feel
Yeah,
like,
but that's why I know it still exists.
yeah, I think that would have been a more interesting way to go. I do like when they have all those little continuity points, and I feel like they did a pretty good job with that in BTOS and also New Batman Adventures, but they don't do it quite as much here. It's
Yeah.
like they do really obvious stuff, like they center an episode around a connection point, but they don't just sprinkle in references in the same way.
Well, I think because they were focused on like a new audience.
Yeah, I think it's
For
true. But
this,
they were,
we're now like, you know, when we start talking about Young Justice, like they know exactly who their audience is.
Yeah, that's true.
It's us.
It's us all the time. But yeah, so Terry tracks him down to this barge where he encounters like the first attempt to do a growth hormone with like this massive, grotesque kind of pit bull looking thing.
It was terrifying.
I think
It looked so ugly.
this is for me is where the episode starts to lose itself a little bit. I think overall it's still really good, and I'm sure I end up including it on my short list when we do that. But it did suffer from, I think a lot of these episodes suffer from, which is like a good idea, then not sure how to put a climax on it. And so to have him like fight this weird mutant dog, I mean, I guess it kind of had to be that. They had to go so over the top that it wouldn't feel like Batman was fighting a bunch of dogs.
Yeah.
I think the more interesting emotional story is
Hyenas.
Clearly it was supposed to be hyenas.
Clearly.
All the way through. And they're just laughing at him.
Yeah.
You just can't even get a punch in because they're too busy laughing.
Exactly.
But no, like, I think if they had actually had him fight dogs that still looked like dogs, it would have been a bit too much.
Well, I was thinking, sorry, how would you, with hindsight, how would you have ended the episode?
I think it needed to still carry through that emotion. I don't know if it was Ace, like Terry actually having to not fight Ace, but like them having sort of a showdown sort of thing. Like if the trainer had, maybe if the trainer had sort of like kind of a shorthand to get the dogs riled up. Like it wasn't just like years of abuse, which we see evidence of, but if he had like a very specific thing, or if he like gave them some sort of like adrenaline jump, or if it was Venom, like maybe that would have been the way to go. Like that he gives the dogs Venom, and so he gives Ace Venom, and it's Terry having to go up against Ace and having to like calm him down. And
You also put a luchador mask on him.
yes, of course, a spiked collar would have been
Yes.
perfect.
His name now is Base.
That's a terrible joke, but
Isn't
it's so
it?
good. It's so good.
Thank you. Pick that joke right up off the ground. Pick that
So good.
rotten fruit up.
Yes, I would have liked to see it been a Terry v. Base situation
Yes.
here, and I think that would have had the emotional punch carry through to the end, and like that would have been that really tough thing where we think that they found Ace, but there's still the possibility of losing him.
Yeah.
And I think that would have worked for me pretty well.
I was thinking, because again, we do have that problem of not showing animal abuse, or not animal abuse, dog abuse specifically, because we were fine with him punching other animals.
Yeah, hyenas mostly.
Hyenas, sharks.
Yes.
But I mean, we have this whole sect of splicing still, and I was thinking like, how do you make dogfighting more interesting in the future? You combine them with other animals,
That could have been cool, yeah.
and so because we've had the whole splicing thing with humans, but like, how does it affect non-humans?
Yeah.
So you have a fucking dog come out with an alligator tail. 'Cause why
Half
not?
dog, half puma.
Yeah. And that could have been interesting. And then you're like, you can fight a fucking what do you call those? Not a griffin. Not a oh my god.
Chimera?
Yes, a chimera. Thank you. Like you can fight it. You can punch a chimera.
A chimera, as they kept
chimera.
calling it in the episode, weirdly.
Yeah, you can fight one of those, and there's no negative reaction to that.
Actually, it would have been cool too, because the first episode of the season was splicing. It would have been kind of a fun bookend.
Bookend, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, to just bring something back that we've already seen.
yeah.
I think could have been really cool because also it could show Terry's growth of either he has a cure for that or he knows how to combat it better.
Yeah.
Now that he's had practice.
But I mean, I think part of this too is that we're now looking at it through the lens of shows with arcs. Like, I mean, like we're going to be talking Young Justice. Like that show does a really good job of doing a season-long arc and really building in long-form storytelling. And so you go back to these shows and they feel like they could use a bit of that.
well, again, like we had the conversation last week. It was just the syndication of it.
Yeah, that's true.
You could watch this episode at any point in this season and it would still fit just fine.
Still fits. I'm glad they saved it to the end though. It's kind of a nice episode to have a finale on.
Well, I read on Wikipedia this wasn't actually in production order. This wasn't actually part of season 2.
Oh, really?
I think they said it was like the first episode of season 3.
Oh,
but they
interesting.
included it in the DVD of season 2.
Oh, like so they kind of after the fact made it a finale of sorts.
Yeah, or maybe it was like a DVD bonus, and then no, because it wouldn't.
No, it would have
wouldn't
aired.
DVDs back
no,
then.
because
Yeah.
hang on. Yeah, it aired August 19th, 2000.
Okay.
Oh, it aired right before my 11th birthday.
Wow.
I know. Look at that.
It was a gift just for you.
Just for me.
Yeah.
Happy 11th birthday. Here's an episode about Batman's dog that'll make you cry.
Yeah.
I don't know. I overall liked it quite a bit, though. Should we
Also, sorry, one last thing. The dog rips the bat suit.
Oh, that's pretty
That
cool.
was terrifying.
Yeah, the mutant dog like shreds, like he eats Terry and then like throws him back up, but also like shreds the lining off the outer layer of the suit.
Yeah.
Which I always love that when that happens. I think that's a cool look with like the exposed circuitry and stuff. But
Is he man or is he machine?
I thought you were about to start breaking into is he a man or is he a Muppet?
No.
The only good movement from an otherwise bad Muppet film. I don't like that movie.
Was this
This is the
just
Jason Segel, Amy Adams one.
Is it the first of the remakes or is
Yeah,
this
the
Muppet
first
Most
one.
Wanted?
Muppets
Okay.
Most Wanted was the second one, which I haven't seen.
I haven't seen either.
Yeah, I didn't like the Muppet movie. It's just boring. It was just
Okay.
like, hey, remember when the Muppets are funny? Rather than having the Muppets be funny. Anyways, that doesn't matter.
Yes, it does, Chris.
That's what we're really here to talk about.
If I can have my talk about One Piece, you can have your talk about Muppets.
But no, because I really want to talk about Young Justice. Yeah, so we're gonna talk Young Justice seasons 1 and 2 because I finally finished my rewatch this morning.
Yes.
It's been taking me a while to get there, but I did.
You've been savoring it.
I've been savoring it. I've been also busy.
No, you've been savoring it. You didn't feel bloated off of Young Justice like I did watching it all in a day.
Yeah, I mean, you watched all. Oh yeah.
No, and I watched it in like a week.
So like I don't know my big takeaway though, having just watched seasons 1 and 2 back to back, and obviously we're gonna go full spoilers on this here. I think
Nothing for season 3 though.
nothing for season 3. I haven't watched it yet.
Yes.
I think season 1 is better, like
I
a
do too.
lot.
I
better.
was trying to make a list of my favorite episode. I'm like, well, I can't pick a favorite because they're all so good. But of the ones that I listed, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
I didn't-
8.
I mean, I didn't actually
No, I have
list.
9 episodes on my favorite list.
Okay.
And only 2 of them are from season 2.
Yeah, that was a good idea to make a list of favorite episodes. I didn't do that. I just have kind of moments throughout. But I think part of the problem with season 2 is by like I like they expand that world a lot, but in doing so, I think they move away from the characters that I liked the most. Like I really like the original team, and I like their dynamic a lot.
Yeah.
And season 2, I don't really care about the Reach. I don't think the Reacher is that interesting of a villain. I like Jaime Reyes, the new Blue Beetle, but I don't love him. We spent a lot of time with
I like
him.
Jaime.
I like him, but he's not as compelling to me as some of the other characters.
I think I like Jaime more because of Brave and the Bold.
Okay, so I haven't watched Brave
Because
and the
he's
Bold
also
yet.
it's the same character.
Okay.
It's the new Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
But in Brave and the Bold, they go in a lot more to Ted Kord's backstory.
Okay.
The previous Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
And that's cool. And they frame it where Batman and Ted Kord were like really close friends.
Okay.
And so him kind of being Blue Beetle's kind of
Successor? Oh, no,
sorry,
Batman being his friend.
being
Okay.
his not protege, but the opposite of that, his mentor.
Yeah.
That I really like that setup, and so I think because of that, I enjoy the Young Justice version more.
No, that's fair. I mean, I think you can kind of fall in love with a character and then still have that love in a different medium a little bit. And I mean, look, both seasons are still great.
Yes.
But I just think the first season's a bit more fun just because they're all a little bit younger. Like I really love Dick in the
season
first
one is more
season.
young. Season 1 is more young. Season 2 is more Justice.
Yes, I guess it's a good way of putting it. But like, I love their version of Dick Grayson, especially in season 1 when he's Robin. 'Cause
It's so good.
He's 13, and like he has like we talked at length about why the Dick Grayson in Titans was terrible. But by contrast, the Titans in Young Justice, or the Dick Grayson, excuse me,
Yes.
in Young Justice is amazing. And you think about
Because you see every side of him.
Yes.
You have the cocky side, you have the hacking side, you have the side where he expects himself to lead. Like I love that mini arc of like, who is our leader?
Yeah, he thought he should be the leader.
And he's
and
like,
he
well, I like my mentor is the most famous.
yeah.
I should lead because of that.
And
Like
him
I
realizing-
am Robin.
Yeah, and him realizing to let it go and let Aqualad take over. And there's that fantastic episode with the battle scenario.
I think that's my favorite episode.
It's in a great episode when
It's
they get
so fun.
when they
it's
it's
so
like they're
good.
doing a battle simulation, like a psychic battle simulation, and Miss Martian's psychic powers are so strong they overwhelm everybody else.
What's the word they used? A zero, not zero sum, but it's a simulation that's meant for failure.
It's the Kobayashi Maru.
Yes, thank you.
Do you know what that is?
I do know what that is.
Okay.
I have seen Star Trek
Okay, it's defensive.
because I love that. I love that word.
The Kobayashi Maru.
Yeah,
I know.
I love that
It just rolls off
situation.
the tongue. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, have you seen Star Trek 2 though? The Wrath of Khan.
You mean Into Darkness?
No. Okay. Yeah, Into Darkness, the weird sort of remake of Wrath of Khan. But anyways,
He's not Khan. He's not Khan. He's
not
Khan.
Khan. It's Khan. We got conned.
Shut up. Shut up. You take Patrick O'Droul. You leave.
It's Peter O'Droul.
Peter O'Droul.
But yeah, that episode when Miss Martian takes over the scenario, I think the best moment is like we're talking about the great thing that says the long form storytelling, because they come out of that and they're all just flabbergasted. They're all overwhelmed by the situation. The next episode is looking at the fallout from that. And my favorite
so
part of the
good.
fallout is when Dick is sitting with Black Canary and they're like doing their like post traumatic like counseling session, and him talking about sending his friends to their death. And him realizing that, I always thought I wanted to be Batman,
But I don't.
and now I'm not so sure.
I'm getting chills talking about it.
I mean, but like that's just an amazing piece of storytelling, and it did in 30 seconds what Titans failed to do over the course of an entire season, which is it understood that character and it put him in a situation where it made him reevaluate his life. And so by the time we get to season 2 and he decided to be Nightwing, we get why. We get why he's becoming his own person all the way through. Like that's a great moment.
Also looking back on that and the like at that scene specific, because I also had that scene specifically in my notes, and seeing him still fighting that through season 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Where 3, I don't really want to talk about it too much, but
Don't talk about it at all. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
At all.
All right. I won't even bring it up. But yeah, God, those 2 episodes, I could care less about the New Gods coming in. And I know that's when we get Sphere.
Yeah.
Which is great, but
Yeah, the next episode's kind of meh, whatever.
I mean, if you just take out that whole story point and you focus just on the counseling session of like how all of them handle it, because you have Dick who is just like willing to open up about it. You have Artemis that's very closed off. You have Kid Flash, who's just making a joke about it. He's like, "Oh,
Wally.
I knew.
Yeah.
I was fine. It was fine."
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, talk to me about when Artemis died," and he chokes up.
I love the sprinkling of like their romantic tension throughout the
Yeah.
course of that season. It's really, really fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's part of the reason I like season 1 a little bit more, is it just was more fun. Like the storytelling got more serious in season 2.
Absolutely.
Whereas I thought season 1 had a really nice balance of long form storytelling, but also independent episodes, and also being playful. Like they have that episode where they all go to the beach and poor Wally is like still stuck in school.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Or the that amazing episode where he has to run the heart across.
Yes, that's also my short list. It is called
like Cold Front or something.
Cold Hearted.
Cold Hearted.
Yeah.
Like
God, that's such a good, because it's his birthday.
yeah.
And
It's everyone else is like teaming up together, and I think they did more bottle episodes in season 1.
Yes.
And they did them really well.
But what's interesting is they also had more. Yes, they have more bottle episodes, but they also have more mini arcs. So that's what I want to talk about for a quick second is how they format a season.
Okay.
Because they have short, middle, and long form storytelling all happening at the same time. So you have all of season 1. The overarching story is the light and what they are.
Yes.
And what they're doing. But then in that you have episodes that are kind of broken up, which I feel like fans are kind of split on, where you have these mid-tier arcs going on, where you have, the Red Tornado arc of that's going on, where it's kind of every 5th episode is you get that. But then at the same time you have the Mole episodes going on, and you have
the Mole arc is really good. Yeah,
you have the Dr. Fate arc.
Oh yes,
going on.
the
Everything with
Zatanna
magic.
Zatara Dr. Fate.
Yeah.
Or even just the recurrence of Dr. Fate. Like
Yeah, exactly.
So many people put on the helmet.
So how do you feel? Because I enjoy that storytelling because it makes it feel like the world is so much bigger when it's not when it's not just either an hour-long episode or back-to-back episodes, but you kind of get the feeling of like villains. Their plan is thwarted. They're not going to immediately have a backup.
Yeah.
It's going to take them time to regroup, go into the shadows, figure out what they're going to do next, and then they come back. A week later.
Yeah, I think what I really liked about season 1 is, to your point, the storytelling feels deep. I think in season 2, the storytelling felt expanded, but it was basically really only one story.
Yeah.
Like everything was in service of the Reach, like the machinations between the Reach, the Light.
Well, they
and
kind of answered the other
League.
story early because the B story was Roy trying to find himself.
Yeah, and because I remember all of that. I remember how good that was of him trying to find Speedy. And what I forgot was that Roy just disappears after he finds Speedy. Like once Speedy comes back and becomes Arsenal, Red Arrow just goes away. And I was waiting for him to come back. I wanted him to do more. And then I wanted more time with him and Cheshire and their daughter.
Yeah.
Because I do love that episode where they go off to, I think, Tibet to try and find Speedy. And it's the two of them fighting. And they bring the girl. You're just like, why the hell would they do this? Like, they totally could have left her with Artemis, but it kind of fits they would bring her along as well.
And then his great line of like, should I be concerned with how much our daughter is enjoying this?
Enjoying the violence? Yeah. And I think episodes like that felt more in the vein of season 1, where they are detached from the larger story. They're their own story. They're not really servicing the major plot. Because pretty much after that, every episode is about the plot with the Reach. And I just don't really give a shit about the Reach. And I thought Black Beetle was kind of a generic villain, and he's just like super powerful, and every time he shows up, he wipes their ass.
Yeah.
And then goes away.
Well, I mean, that is also kind of a different story from season 1, because season 1 they always found a way to win, but now you have this basically Darth Vader who comes in and he has this presence of like, fuck, we can't win, we just can't fight. That's our way to beat him, is just run.
Yeah.
So I like that idea.
And
I wish they did run more.
Yeah.
Instead of always trying to fight him and always having the same outcome.
Because it just got repetitive.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that was my problem, was that the storytelling in season 1 felt much more dynamic. There were all those kind of digressions and little mini arcs, as you pointed out. And so it didn't feel like a long season. Whereas for me, season 2, because it was just one story they were telling, you really felt the length of it. Because season 2 is only 20 episodes. Season 1, I think, is 26. Season 1 felt shorter.
Yeah.
To me, despite being a longer thing, because it felt more broken up. Whereas this, I'm like, man, we're still doing this? Like, it took us this long to get to it?
Yeah.
Or maybe just I'm too used to watching The Good Place, so they just like burn through stories so fucking fast. But like, even in season 2, we quickly establish that, you know, Aqualad is now working for Black Manta, and then it's like the next.
Oh, that is my favorite story arc, or like mini arc, though. Is
the
Tigress,
the mole. Yeah, so, but it's like we established that he's working for Black Manta. It's like the next episode we establish, or maybe
I think
even
my
that
favorite episode is when Artemis dies. I'm thinking back on it.
That's a
I
good
think
episode.
I just enjoy because my 2 favorite episodes are the simulation, and the murder, and both the episodes where Artemis dies.
I just like to watch Artemis die.
Yeah, I think I have a theme going
You
on.
monster.
Yeah, fuck that character.
Yeah,
she's no Terra.
I mean, she's great. I love Artemis.
I do love Artemis.
She's not Terra, but yeah, like, you know, we quickly establish that Aqualad's a villain, and then either that exact same episode or immediately the following episode, we establish that he's a spy, that he's a mole,
It's
a double agent.
It's episode 2. We learned that Calder is bad, and I think it's episode like 6 is when they attack. Because it's called Depths is the episode where Artemis gets stabbed.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I think it's the 3rd episode we get Aqualad back.
Okay.
And then I think at the end of that one we realize that it's that he's an agent, like a double agent, but it took all the way to the very end for that to kind of pay off. And it just did drag a little bit.
Well, so that's one of my other questions for you is with this kind of stream or binging world we now live in, I think HBO is the biggest has the biggest problem with this, and I think it's also why season 2 feels so long. It's how do you feel when you have 22 episodes of questions and then 2 episodes of answers? Because that
sort of the J.K. Rowling effect.
Yes, because I mean that's my biggest problem with Westworld.
Yeah,
is it's and I mean Game of Thrones kind of does it, and I think season 1 of this is better at it because it is the mini arcs interspersed. Where we do get, you know, it's 8 episodes of questions and then 1 answer, and then 8 more episodes of questions and then 1 more and then 1 of answers.
Yeah, it does kind of drag, and I think the shows that do it the best are the ones that have episodes still feel kind of episodic. Like you never watched Battlestar Galactica, right?
I have not.
So it's great. Now I haven't watched it in years. I basically caught up with it and then watched the finale live. The finale was like 2012, I want to say 2013.
Okay.
It's a great show, and it was definitely one of the first shows that did the binging thing. It was like you can see that like every episode would end in a way that you want to pick up immediately the next one.
What is their villain called?
The Cylons.
Cylons, thank you.
Yeah, and you actually see a bit of that DNA then spread into Breaking Bad, which is another one of those shows. Like if you're gonna take a break, pause in the middle of an episode.
Yes.
Don't wait to the end. But I think Battlestar and Breaking Bad both were good about having episodes feel distinct, like their own distinct stories.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a chapter leading to something else. I think Young Justice season 1 did that well. I think season 2 was kind of more your point.
Well, yeah, season 2 also it still had those a few bottle episodes, but season 2 has my least favorite episode, just because
Which one?
Teen Titans did it so much better, and it's the Contest of Champions one.
With
It's called
Despero?
Yes, called Cornered. Yeah, with Despero.
Oh yeah.
Which I mean, it's a fine episode.
It's okay. What I liked about that was that it followed on immediately after the destruction of Mount Justice. So they were good. Like again, talking about when you're doing long form storytelling, having them lose one headquarters, then lose another one immediately, like that sort of teeing up.
Yeah,
worked really well.
Well,
But
but
that episode
then
itself was kind of meh.
I get that, but then that plays right into the Reach's plan of revealing the headquarters,
The Watchtower.
Yeah, exactly. So it all kind of played into itself.
It did, but I agree with you. That episode on its own was just kind of okay.
And also Teen Titans. That's one of my favorite episodes of Teen Titans is the Contest of Champions.
I don't remember that one, to be honest.
It's great. It's when we first meet Speedy. And you and like Robin and Speedy are kind of this like friendly rivalry going on.
I do kind of remember this now.
And yeah, Robin like goes all out to be the winner, and we meet Hotspot, we meet Wildebeest. Who else? The Gizmos in that episode. God, that's such a good episode.
I need to go back and watch all that at some point.
But I do want to just do a quick comparison because it's what I do. I love comparing Teen Titans and Young Justice because I love them both so much. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the biggest things about Young Justice is it wasn't like it started out as kind of being the stepping stone to get into the like that's what they thought they had to do this to get into the league.
Yeah.
And then it turned into its own thing, which is awesome. But I wrote something about this. Where did I write it?
Well, you mean like they thought that they had to have their own team first before
because I think even Roy makes the joke of they're the Junior Justice League.
Yeah.
They're
never named.
They're not.
Which is interesting. Mm-hmm. There's never an official name for that team as far as I can tell.
Because they're just meant to do the stuff that the league can't.
Yeah. They operate in the shadows.
Yes. Okay, so I wrote, Young Justice really dives into the question of what it means to be a sidekick and the kind of inferiority complex that comes from that. Yeah. Something Teen Titans never even mentioned outside of a brief moment. Kind of the idea of being a sidekick is such a main focus here. Where in Teen Titans, the only reference we get to it is in the second to last episode of season 1, Apprentice Part 1, is Slade is talking to Robin and says, "Let me be the father you never had." And he says, "He says I already have a father figure." And then you have bats fly across the background.
Oh yeah,
and that's the only reference we have.
But I think part of that comes down to the fact in Teen Titans we never see the league.
That's right. Yeah.
Which I thought that was the kind of interesting thing about Young Justice is it's the first time that we have everyone in, because in Justice League we spend no time with any of the teen sidekicks.
Right.
And at that point there were none. There was no Superboy. There was Supergirl, who does come back in JLU. Mm-hmm. But even in JLU we never see the Bat
But she's
family
never treated
return.
as a sidekick at that point.
No, she's not. But we never see the Bat family return. There are really no sidekicks. There are not a lot of sidekicks in the DCAU. And then Teen Titans avoided the league entirely. What I liked about this show was that it had both of them.
Yes.
And it did a pretty good job of having them interact without the Justice League ever overwhelming it. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously in season 2 they have the whole plot line of them having to go to stand trial, and that's why they disappear.
Grim War.
But in season 1 they kind of they did a good job of keeping them at distance. But I also did love in season 2 when they siege the Krolatian base, and it's everyone's together.
Yeah.
So it's like Batman with the entire Bat family. It's Wonder Woman and Wonder Girl. It's Superman and Superboy. Both the Martians. We see everyone teaming up with their mentors. Mm-hmm. And that's a great episode. And just watching them all coordinated and having their fight style, seeing the whole Bat family working together, something we never even got in the DCAU.
Yeah.
We never had them all together at once. So I loved that stuff. Mm-hmm. That was amazing.
And then what was the episode where it was early in season 1 where Aqualad goes back to Atlantis.
Oh yeah.
Where all the other characters kind of have their family moments.
Yes.
Because that's when Robin is dealing with not being the leader, and so he's kind of being more aggressive, and you see Alfred and Bruce, and their response to that is, "Let's go play basketball like a family." And I'm like, "Holy shit, he's a fucking dad."
Yeah, and that's again. This show understands its characters. Mm-hmm. And also it helps that it's Bruce Greenwood doing the voice of Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And you know how much I love Bruce Greenwood.
Famous basketball player,
Bruce Greenwood. But also for me, my headcanon, Under the Red Hood is set in the Young Justice universe.
Okay.
I mean, it's not. The only connection point is it's the same voice of Batman. Mm-hmm. Although we do know for a fact that Jason Todd did exist.
Yes.
He just died.
We see him in the Hall of Memories.
Yeah, he died in that 5-year period.
Oh, I know. Same with
Tula.
Tula.
Tula and Ted Kord, the original Blue Beetle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do like that episode. They all go off to their families. Like we see Wally has such a sweet relationship with his parents, and like they just want to keep. They have to like feed him all
back
the
in a
time.
flash.
Yeah, exactly. Does he say that all the time? Like yeah, he does.
every time.
even that season 2 episode, the introduction of Impulse.
But yeah, that's also on my short list.
Which I forgot that there was that whole like time travel element. They also never come back to it. At least they haven't, as far as I've seen. Don't tell me if they do. Season 3. Okay, good. Doesn't say anything. But I really like that episode when Impulse comes back, and we get that. They never say it explicitly, but we definitely get the sense that in the original timeline, Barry died.
Yes.
There. So I thought that was really sweet that they incorporated that. Plus, it's just fun. I love all 3 speedsters together.
I always love. So I brought this up when we first started Batman Beyond. I love future slang.
Yes.
And how everyone starts adapting.
Crash the mode.
Dude, you got to crash the mode.
So the thing that's interesting is not.
Dude, I'm so moded right now.
So moded. It's time to make mode happen.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting is that is Reach slang that has infused the culture.
That's right.
Because when the Reach use it, we don't yet know who the Reach are, so it makes it seem like they're also from the future. They're not. That's just like that's their slang, which is pretty fun.
Yeah.
I do love like slag it. Like I love like fake slang. It's one of my favorite things.
I also love because it's something I missed the first time I watched the show, and I brought it up when I started my rewatch of the word of the vocabulary Robin uses. Robin specifically.
Dick Grayson
whelmed. Yeah. How everyone adapts whelmed.
Yeah, stay whelmed, everybody.
Yeah. I love that so much.
We're having a major Aster here right now.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah. Like there's that great episode in season 1 where the villains break into Mount Justice, and like it ultimately comes down to like Artemis on her own, trying to like it's
not the villains. It's the other 2 tornadoes. It's the other 2
right,
reds.
it's the other 2 reds. Yeah, the tornadoes. The other 2 reds. Yeah. So many good episodes.
Yeah.
And also I love how season 1 comes to an end, where like they've been kind of teasing along all the way that there was this mole, but they basically like they seemingly had gotten around that. Like, oh, there was never a mole. It was just there to like plant confusion. The league is always in the background, and they have it all come together when they're nominating who should join the league. Because I think one of the best lines in the whole series is when they're debating as to how young is too young.
Yeah.
And Bruce was saying like, oh, like I started training Robin when he was 9. And what's the exact line? It's like, oh, is it one woman says, oh, you trained him that way so he'd turn out like you, and Bruce just goes, no, so he wouldn't.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I mean, just like that. Even in those moments of like vulnerability and self-awareness, he's still such a fucking badass.
Yeah.
Like, listen, you can never
get a one up on him.
You can never get a one up on him.
He's always ready.
I love that version of Batman. That is just even when you insult him, he will insult himself better, and then also make you feel bad about it.
He'll slim shady that shit.
That was one of my favorite lines in the whole thing.
Yeah. And that whole discussion. Excuse me. There we go. That whole discussion of like what, like, is it age or maturity? Because then it's like, well, on Mars, Megan is like 300 years old or something.
Yeah.
But then Superboy is 6 months old.
Yeah.
So is he gonna have to wait 17 years, or then Captain Marvel always pops up like
he's a kid. 'Cause I do love when the league finds out. It was a great episode when
that's also on my short list.
Yeah, when the kids get separated. The kids didn't get separated, and they realize he's the only one that can go back and forth between the 2.
Yeah,
which is so fantastic. And I love their version of Captain Marvel because
misplaced.
Misplaced. Yeah, he's such a kid. And maybe that's one of the reasons I liked season 1 a bit better too, was that I thought they had more variety to the Rogues Gallery. So they had the light operating in the background,
Yeah, so
but they also had the Injustice Society show up.
That was
too.
another question I wanted to ask. Because do you feel, how did I write this? Do you feel with the plot structure we care less about the villains compared to BTOS? Because I feel like one, there's so many. Like every episode, there's never one villain in an episode. There's always multiple.
There's a whole bunch.
Excuse me. Oh god, I'm so fucking gassy right now. There's never one, but also because they're broken up so far apart.
Yeah.
Like I remember my first watch, I could never remember who the Red Tornado creator was. I still don't even remember his name.
Ivo.
Yes.
No.
No.
Ivo built Amazo.
So it was his competitor because they used him to find the base.
Yes. Oh, Tio Maro.
Yes, thank you. Because on my first watch through, I would forget like, oh right, he's that guy because we haven't seen him in 6 episodes.
Yeah.
And the last time we saw him, he was in it for 5 minutes.
Right.
And now he's a central character.
Yeah, they sprinkled many more villains in the first part of it. Wait, what was your question though? I got lost in the...
Do you think we care less about the villains
do we care less?
compared to BTOS? Or even Justice League?
I think I feel like in BTOS the villains made the show.
Yes.
Because they were the kind of only source of variety. Because even when villains would recur, they would do something different with them every single time. Like that show hangs on the villains. And I think when you got to New Batman Adventures, they played more with team dynamics a little bit. Like the heroes themselves had a bit more to do. I think it's part of the reason why Superman was always pretty flat. Was that
we didn't care about him or the villains?
Well, yeah, like you couldn't adopt the same model as BTOS because he just didn't give a shit about his Rogues Gallery quite as much. Whereas I think when it comes to Young Justice, the main team dynamic is the most interesting and dramatic part of it, and the villains are texture, like they're flavor on the whole thing, but they're not the crux of it. So I think you do care about them less. You're just kind of more enjoying their presence.
Yeah.
And they do a good job with all of them. Like I think that their version of Lex I think holds up pretty well in comparison to say like the Clancy Brown one.
Yeah.
I think the one glaring exception is their Joker is terrible.
We also it's also one of the only series where he's not like a central villain.
Yeah.
Like he's part of the light, but just barely.
I think he's not even part of the light. He was just
Oh
recruited.
no, yeah, sorry,
He's
was
part of the
in-
Injustice Society that was basically brought together as a decoy for the light. But even like Roz, who is was a prominent character in BTOS and is just kind of a background character of the light. I think he's still really well done, even in Young Justice. Like at the end of season 2, when he's like the one person to recognize the disguise charm that Artemis is wearing.
Yeah, the glamour charm.
The glamour charm. Thank you. It's pretty fun. But yeah, I think season 1 of Young Justice, you were really just hanging on the team and their interaction, and then the background villains and plot lines were kind of sprinkling and kept things going and kept it interesting. And then I feel like in season 2, the light is just not that interesting, nor is the Reach.
Yeah, I also think they focused more on the League in season 2 because
Yeah.
they did, they also had a few members move up.
Yeah, there's a lot of
So you had
the
Rocket
Young Justice.
and Zatanna. Yeah.
Yeah, they're now official League members too. And maybe part of it too is I just don't really care for this younger batch of heroes as much.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Lagan.
No, I don't like Lagan. I like their version of Beast Boy, but
Wait for season 3.
okay. But he's like fine, but he's not great.
God, it's such a good episode. Sorry.
And I don't really care that much about, like I said, Blue Beetle. I like Wonder Girl. I like they brought up Batgirl.
I like they introduced the Runaways. They have another name because that's Marvel. But where you have
Not the Outsiders, because season 3 is the Outsiders.
it's Virgil and Long Shadow.
I did. Yeah, I don't really know who the other two are. I did love the inclusion of,
And then Arsenal joins him at the end.
yeah, I did love Virgil in
Yeah.
this. I thought they did a great job bringing him in and like explaining how he got his powers, that he was manipulated by the Reach.
And then you get that also like really nice moment of, Reach was mainly going after Runaways, but then Virgil's like, no, man, I love my parents.
Yeah.
Like, my parents are great. I was just out for a walk and I got picked up.
Got picked up.
And like, I want to go home. Like, I get you guys don't, but like, I still have a home to go back to.
Yeah, yeah. I'm excited. I'm assuming Static is in season 3.
I'm not gonna say.
Okay, don't say anything. Okay, I do want to talk about one thing.
Okay.
Their version of Guy Gardner is hot.
I don't know.
I have
what
a
he
problem.
looks like.
I have a problem with this. They have like a sexy Guy Gardner.
Is it? I always forget. Is it Young Justice or JLU where they go through the thing and like we had Should we add
It's
another
this.
link? Okay.
When they're trying to figure out new members to recruit, it's Hal and Jon Stewart. And like,
Yeah.
well, what about Guy Gardner? No.
I love that so much.
In perfect sync. But like, I mean, because Guy Gardner normally has like that weird bowl cut, and he's just like kind of mad. But hang on, bring up a photo here because
He's the best in
this is
Brave and the Bold.
this is young Justice Guy Gardner.
Yeah, he
is-
looks like Roy.
Yeah, he's fine as fuck.
All the redheads, they just make them look they just have one character model for a redhead.
Yeah, it's great. They all look great.
Um,
I'm on board with it.
yeah. So I wanted to read off my short list really fast. First off, do you have a favorite episode that you can just kind of think of?
I should have thought of that question ahead of time. I think the Kobayashi Maru episode, whatever it's called,
Fail safe.
Failsafe, that one I do love.
I think that and then the Fallout are my favorite. Is my favorite story.
Fallout.
Just the
The
PTSD
episode that
afterwards.
follows
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I do really, really like that. I'm trying to think what else.
Yeah, I'll read mine because I'm
Okay.
sure some of them are the same. So Failsafe is my absolute favorite episode where they fail the mission. The Kobayashi Maru.
Yeah.
Terrors, when Superboy and Miss Martian go into Bel Rev.
Oh,
they
that's a good episode.
I love
yeah,
that episode.
That's a really good episode.
Because you also get like the hints of Superboy and his inferiority with Superman still.
Yeah.
Where he's talking to Doctor Strange. And that's also the start of their relationship.
Oh, that's
in that
true.
episode. We meet Icicle Jr., who's one of my favorites.
Icicle Jr. is great.
Who also, he comes back in season 3 for a brief moment. And it's the
it's-
most adorable interaction.
It's so good.
Misplaced is the episode where the humans and adults the adults and kids are split. Because that's also when we get Zatara putting on the helmet. Yeah, so we lose Zatara in that episode, and oh man, that hurts. Cold Hearted is so good when Kid Flash is running cross country. Performance, because I've talked about this one at length in the podcast before. That's where they go back to the circus.
That's a great episode.
That's such a good episode, and it ends on the best line of like I know what a Grayson looks like in the air, or whatever, however he says it. It's just like, oh man, it's so good, Haley. So that's from season 1, and season 2, Bloodlines, which is the introduction of Impulse, Depths, which is when Artemis dies, quote unquote. Complications, I really like because that's when you have the two storylines kind of flip on each other. So that's when we learn Blue Beetle is under Reach control.
Oh, that's
already.
right. Yeah.
And while that's going on, Miss Martian is trying to get out of the ship. As I was writing like my brief description of this episode, I realized like how many characters you have to know to watch this one. Yeah, because you have to know Blue Beetle, Impulse, and Nightwing basically for the first and the Reach for storyline A. But for storyline B, it's Black Manta, Simon, Tigress, Miss Martian, Cheshire, and
Sportsmaster. Yeah, it's a lot.
at a minimum to understand this
It's
episode.
a lot. Like,
and Deathstroke, because Deathstroke has the
Deathstroke's in
trigger.
there, yeah. I think that's one of the fun things about this universe is that it is so expansive and everyone's in there.
Yeah, but this the moment when when Artemis is fighting her dad, fighting Sportsmaster, and has to convince him that she is still alive, and so she does the move that he taught her to knock him out. He goes, "By God, you are Artemis!"
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Oh, that's so sweet." Like, I love that moment.
That's a good one.
And then obviously Endgame is Wally.
Oh yeah,
because then there's also the photo that they took in season 1 that finally comes back, and that just like ripped my heart out. Of when Artemis first goes to school.
Oh yeah,
Dick comes up and takes a picture.
Wait, but Endgame is when Wally disappears.
Oh, it was the photo when he turns into Tigress?
No, the photo was when we thought Artemis had died. That's early on in season 2 when they like
Yeah.
the death of
When she turns to Tigress. Yeah.
yeah, the death of Artemis is when Dick goes back and looks at that photo.
Okay.
Yeah, but it is a great moment when that comes
God,
back.
that moment rips my heart out.
Comes
Like,
back
we'll
around.
remember this someday, or we'll laugh about this
We'll
someday.
about it someday. Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, where's Wally? It echoes in my head. It's so painful.
That's
So good.
I forgot how quickly that happens.
Yeah, because that's like the last 3 minutes of the episode.
Yeah. And it's even just very quickly explained, like he's absorbing the energy coming off this thing, and like he'll just cease to exist, and
Yeah.
off he goes.
God.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
it
it's really good, and I mean, obviously, then season 2 ends setting up Darkseid, which is super exciting, and I love that in that final scene, Vandal goes to Apocalypse, and we see G. Gordon Godfrey,
Yeah.
who I love in season 2. I mean, voiced by Tim Curry, so he's absolutely fantastic. I love it. He always says the reach.
Reach.
But also, as I was watching, I was like, this is too real.
Yeah.
Now it's just way too real
Because
to
we
our-
have Lex Luthor as our president.
Well, I mean, we would be so lucky.
That's true.
To have Lex Luthor as our president. But I more just meant like that idea of a really just the. I mean,
the,
G. Gordon is so Fox News.
Yes.
At this point, and he's just such a manipulative little piece of shit weasel. But again, because Tim Curry is so charismatic, and then he reminds me a lot of in V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
Prothero. I cannot remember that actor's name, but similar sort of thing. It's a very similar concept, and even that actor kind of sounds like Tim Curry.
You need to borrow Spider-Man PS4 because J. Jonah Jameson, I think I told you, he doesn't run the paper anymore, but he has a podcast.
Oh, really?
That just kind of plays while you're swinging through the city.
That's fantastic.
And so you can, it'll stop when you start a cutscene, but you can just kind of sit there and listen
to it.
And that it's 100% just Fox News.
That's amazing. I mean, it's kind of like
It's so funny.
playing Grand Theft Auto back in the day too. Where there'd be those times you just like sit and listen to the radio station because it's like what they're talking about is so funny and it's so good. I don't have any other big notes, but here's my thesis question for Young Justice. It's a hard one to answer.
What is justice?
What is justice? No, what's better, Young Justice or the DCAU?
Oh man, I love Young Justice so much. I'm gonna say Young Justice because it's taken everything that the DCAU started and just enhanced it.
I agree. Actually, now it's a little unfair because the
culture has changed.
The culture has changed, and I mean, and also Young Justice wouldn't exist without the DCAU.
Exactly.
And for many, many reasons. But also, the DCAU is much bigger and a much more varying quality, right? I mean, there's a 20-year. Well, no, when did Young Justice come out? 2000.
9 or 11.
Okay, so there's, let's say about roughly 15, 16 years between when BTOS started and when Young Justice premiered. The world had changed a lot, and even how storytelling was done has changed a lot. And I think that
2010. Yeah.
So Young Justice feels most reminiscent of, say, JLU.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think Justice League and Justice League Unlimited is where you kind of get into the most sophisticated storytelling. We talked about this before, the most sophisticated storytelling in the DCAU. But I actually do think the Young Justice universe is better. And I think one of the big reasons is everything already exists. Right?
Yes.
So the problem with the DCAU is that it's hampered by the fact that it has to introduce everyone and everything. Right? So because we started with just Batman, by the time we got around to introducing Superman, you have to introduce Superman. You have to introduce every single villain that Superman goes up against and fights. And what ultimately ends up becoming is that universe feels really young. By the time we got to Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, it was able to more embrace the fact that there's all these other random characters out there, and they didn't have to introduce everybody. They just existed, and it was fine.
Yeah, we didn't need origins or
Right.
why they're. I mean, I guess in Justice League we did get a reason they're all together.
Yeah.
Like the first episode does connect everyone.
But I think what helps is with Young Justice, we jump straight into a DC universe where all these heroes have existed for many years.
Exactly.
They've already formed the Justice League. They already have sidekicks. The sidekicks already know each other. And all of these relationships are established, and then the storytelling is about establishing new relationships, challenging the existing ones, asking the questions of does it mean to be a sidekick. I think just the storytelling is more sophisticated.
It absolutely is.
But who knows? By the time we get back to JLU, maybe we'll be a little bit warmer on the whole thing. I think part of it right now is that I love Batman Beyond, but season 2 is not really the high point of the DCAU by any stretch.
Yeah.
So when you're actively comparing them, because I was watching them simultaneously, I think Young Justice is actually better. And this is something that our friend Katie will be very happy to hear, because she was telling me for years I had to watch Young Justice. Like, you got to watch it. It's just as good as the DCU. You got to watch it. Like, you have to get over your kind of stigma against something that's playing in a similar sort of space. And I was like, no. Finally sat down and watched it. I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. This is amazing.
It's so good.
Having watched it again,
I'm excited for you to watch season 3.
I am very excited that I'm now caught up, that I can get to watch season 3. I'm glad I went and rewatched it, though, because I had forgotten so much.
Yeah.
So much of that stuff.
Yeah, because even when I did my rewatch, because this was my third time watching through the whole series. Like, I forgot about a lot of the sub stories of season 1. Like, the one that I remember just because I love Dr. Fate so much. I'm just like, oh yeah, there's like half the season is about Dr. Fate.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's like 3 episodes.
Yeah, it just seemed like so much does happen in that first season. And maybe that's part of it. Season 2, it feels
Then
like
I
less
completely
happens.
forgot about the whole Red Tornado arc, and then his because there's the main arc, and then there's also the side arc of him wanting to be more human.
Yeah.
And he built a human body for himself, and we learned that the other Reds are former Justice League members, or they were Justice Society members, and you're like, God, that's so much. It's literally years of comic history condensed into a series
Without ever feeling overwhelming.
Yes, a little overwhelming.
I never found it overwhelming.
When I was just looking at the list of villains this morning, that was when I'm like, fuck, this is overwhelming.
I mean, there's a lot of villains, but what I loved about that too is that they would throw in villains that I
had
don't
no
know.
idea.
Like that brain and the robot thing, or what's the French monkey's name?
Oh, Minsuamala?
Yeah, Mitsumala. I forgot about him.
Minsuamala.
Like, I forgot about these characters. It's
Not to be confused with Girl Grodd. Like, I
absolutely
always
not.
got
Very
them
different.
confused.
Very different.
Yeah. The brain is the Doom Patrol main villain.
He is?
Yes. So Brain, when we did our Doom Patrol episode
Oh,
from Titans,
that's right.
Brain was originally lab partners with the leader of Doom Patrol.
Oh, yeah, the professor, I forget.
Yeah. Professor, Doctor, whatever. And he was caught in an explosion caused by not Mastro, because that's the other psychic, but the Doctor.
Yeah.
And so he now is doing everything in his power to stop, his former lab partner.
That's right. I forgot about that.
And then Minsoor Mala is kind of his basically his lover.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. I love these things.
Yeah.
Um,
They play chess together all the time.
I'm all for atypical relationships.
Yeah.
No, it's absolutely fantastic. So obviously, I'm gonna try and get through season 3 as fast as I can, and we'll follow up on that.
Yeah. There's only 13
Soon.
episodes
Which
at the
helps.
moment.
Yeah,
Yes.
so yeah, we'll do the mid-season point.
And we have
soon.
part 2 starts in June, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
It's what's coming. So Doom Patrol, as of this episode, when this episode comes out, Doom Patrol will start this Friday. And once that's done, the next series that DC Universe is doing is part 2, or the second half of season 3.
Half of this. Okay. Super excited for that. Not all excited for Doom Patrol. Won't watch it.
I'll let you know how it is.
Yeah, let me know. I mean, I love Timothy Dalton's in it because I love Timothy Dalton.
I mean, Brendan Fraser's in it.
Look, I love
and Alan Tudyk's in it.
I love the people in it. I just don't care. I'm so burned after Titans.
I get it. I'm only doing it for Alan Tudyk because I love him so much.
I understand. But yeah, so I do want to do a quick little session notes from friends.
Okay.
I have a special note from a friend this week. It's actually
Ooh.
from my cousin Nico.
Hi, Nico.
Who listens to the podcast, obviously. Listens to both my podcasts. I'm sorry, Nico. It's a lot of my voice you have to listen to. But he wrote in after episode 109 to talk about Airbud.
Oh, boy.
So I'll read the email out. So it's, hi, Chris and Cameron. This is a bit late, but I just finished episode 109 where you talked about Airbud. So I thought I should chime in and share some of my unnecessarily in-depth knowledge of the ABCU,
yes.
the Airbud Cinematic Universe trivia. So without further ado, number 1, Buddy's first on-screen appearance was in an episode of America's Funniest Home Videos.
Wow.
I did not know that. This is where it gets really good, though. Number 2.
I'm already excited.
I should be laughing at this, but it's still kind of funny. 5 puppies died on the set of the direct-to-DVD movie Snow Buddies.
Oh, no.
So before filming began, Disney imported around 25 golden retriever puppies that are set in Vancouver, which was currently in the middle of a 6-month-long outbreak of canine parvovirus. All the imported puppies were roughly 6 weeks old, and none of them had received parvo vaccinations. These are usually given when puppies are between 6 and 8 weeks old. At least 15 of the puppies were infected with the parvo soon after arrival. Allegedly, the situation got so bad that the puppies were placed on IV drips in between scenes. Disney eventually removed all of the remaining puppies from the set and brought in a new batch. Filming was suspended after the new batch was also exposed to the parvovirus. In the end, at least 5 of the golden retrievers died and at least 30 were exposed. Coincidentally, the film did not feature the usual no animals were harmed in the making of this disclaimer.
Oh my gosh. That's really sad.
Trivia note number 3, Snow Buddy sucks, so those puppies died for nothing. Which is so good. But he also says, I don't want to end this on a sad note, so he has a question for you, Cameron.
Okay.
Have you watched Mob Psycho 100?
I have watched Mob Psycho 100.
So he says, the art style takes some getting used to, but the animation can be surprisingly good at times, especially in the current season, and he thinks it's well worth checking out. So what are your thoughts?
It's so good.
So what is Mob Psycho 100?
So there was that other anime that I told you to watch that's not My Hero Academia. It's called One Punch Man.
I know of One Punch Man.
Yes.
Yeah, still won't watch it.
Okay, so One Punch Man is written by a guy named One. Just like the number.
Okay. 1 is the loneliest number.
Exactly.
2 can be as bad as 1. It's the loneliest number
number.
since the number 1.
Oh.
Sorry, continue.
So One Punch Man was his first series, and after that it's made by the same creator.
Okay.
Mob Psycho 100 is kind of in the same way that One Punch Man is a flip of the genre.
1 is the
Loneliest number that you ever knew. Do you know where I learned that song?
Where?
The Recess movie.
No shit, really?
Yeah. Recess school's out because all of TJ's friends go off to summer camp, and he's walking home from the bus stop, and 1 is the loneliest number is playing in the background.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways.
So Mob Psycho is about a kid, a high schooler, who has unparalleled psychic ability.
Okay.
But he never uses it because he doesn't want people to like him because of that.
Okay.
But no one likes him normally.
Aw.
So he's working for a kind of an exorcist who has no psychic powers, who's just a scam artist.
Yeah.
And so Mob kind of has to go along. He's working as the intern, and he has to go along and actually clean up the mess because people actually have psychic problems. That his boss is just kind of cheating them out of money. Like he'll throw salt on the ground, be like, "We got him," and then Mob will like snap his fingers, and the actual ghost will like fly away.
Yeah.
But so he suppresses his emotion because he's scared. Because when he was younger, he had like a blip where he lost control of his power, and he like attacked his brother. He has a younger brother.
Okay.
And so he tries to suppress his emotions as much as he can. And so whenever something happens to him, the screen jumps to a percentage, and that's how close he is to losing control again.
Oh, interesting.
So Mob Psycho
Okay.
100 is saying when he hits 100%, his name is Mob.
Yeah.
He becomes psychotic when he hits 100%. Mob Psycho 100.
Okay.
And all of his power just comes out, and it basically destroys everything in sight.
Jesus.
And so it kind of, there's a lot of comedy in the show, but because of that kind of ever rising number, you know something bad is about to happen.
Yeah.
Like there's always that fear of like, because sometimes it'll jump 2 or 3%, sometimes it'll jump 20%. And then it'll just stay there for the rest of the season. So like,
so we can't like bring it back down.
right. It doesn't go down until he hits 100.
Oh god.
And then it goes back to 0. And it's great. It's a very weird art style, yes, but there's a special word, and I think it's Madhouse that did it. I don't remember which studio did it, but there's a special word in Japanese animation where it switches from kind of the generic animation style to like very, very, very stylized art.
Oh, I think
and-
I've seen this. style before.
Yeah.
This looks familiar.
But that stylized art is what kind of makes artists famous in Japan. Storyboard artists and concept artists, they get money for these scenes, and that's where all the money goes to. Is most of Japanese animation can be done on a limited budget because they spend so much on these big action scenes. And also the theme song for season 1 is someone just singing the numbers 1 to 100.
Really?
Yeah, it's a great song.
Oh my god, that's fantastic. I mean, it sounds like an incredible concept. Like so much of anime, it sounds like an amazing concept.
It's anime.
I will never watch it.
I would recommend people watching One Punch Man first because it's something that Western audiences have a better understanding of. But Mob Psycho is just so good.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I hate to say it. I hate to say it to both you, Cameron, and Nico. I won't be watching it.
I know.
I'm sure it's good.
I get it.
But anyways, Nico, thank you so much for writing in. That was really, really fun.
Thank you for asking me an anime question.
Don't encourage him. Damn it.
So I started watching this other show.
I'm trying to abuse that out of him at this point. It's not happening. Let's wrap up real fast here. What are your plugs?
My plugs. I watched a movie this week. I was invited to a screening. I think I'm allowed to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it anyway.
Look at you, all fancy, going to see a screening.
Yeah. I wasn't sure.
I'm mad that you went to a screening and I didn't.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to think of this film because I'm not super into the culture, but I'm learning more about it and I'm enjoying what I'm learning.
Okay.
But it's called Fighting with My Family.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's the movie produced by The Rock, not starring The Rock, but The Rock is in it. Dwayne Johnson is in it, as well as Nick Frost.
Yes.
Who I love.
I
mainly watched it for him.
Of course. Is it based off of a true story?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's for people who don't know, it's kind of a nice introduction to the world of WWE. So it's about the youngest female wrestler to win the title of Diva, which is their belt holder.
Yeah.
Or title champion, whatever word it is.
Sure.
And so it follows her life coming from this small town in England, from a very wrestling centric family. Both of her parents are amateur wrestlers. Both of her brothers also tried out for WWE and didn't make it past the audition phase, but she did. And then it's just kind of, it's obviously everyone knows wrestling is fake at this point. But it's cool to see how much still goes in it behind the scenes. Part of the story I wish they went into was how they actually craft the stories.
Oh, okay,
that could have been really cool.
How they write the show, basically.
Yeah,
that could have been interesting.
But no, they mainly went into the physical work, how much fucking effort goes into these things, and that was really cool to see.
So, do you feel like it does a good job of portraying the reality of WWE in a good light, of being look, everyone knows this is fake, but here's the truth behind how hard this actually is? Because I mean, I don't, watching that sort of shit doesn't appeal to me at all, despite its blatant homoeroticism. But I do have an appreciation for it. You listen to interviews like John Cena and some of these other guys, and it's a lot of work. It's actually a lot of physical work, but I mean, to your point, there is a lot of writing that goes into creating these characters and these storylines. And they Glow, I kind of think, does a good job at kind of talking about this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, it's a real art form in its own right. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's how there's a great there's a great way someone described it, and they said it's soap opera and spandex.
I love it.
Isn't it? Isn't that a great way to
say it? It's fantastic. Yeah, it's so true.
But there was another video I watched about it that just happened to coincide with the movie, where they did talk about you're getting a full dramatic story with no dialogue, and how do you talk about how do you do that?
Yeah.
And then the side video I watched talked about kind of the rise of kayfabe, is I guess the term they use, and that lasted until the late 90s, where if it's kind of living in the reality you're crafting.
Okay.
Where no matter what you're doing, where you are, if you're a good guy, you always have to be a good guy around the fans. If you're a heel, you always have to be a heel around the fans.
Right.
You can never be seen in the same room as your rival.
Yeah.
But clearly behind the scenes, they were all friends.
They're all friends, yeah.
So in the 90s, when there was the big battle between WWE and WWF, not WWE, whatever the other one was. There were two wrestlers. They were jumping ship, and so during their last fight, it was a group of 4, and they were all villains of each other. And so they finished their fight, and while the cameras were still rolling, like the fight ended, they were kind of panning back, about to go to camera. All 4 of them walk on stage and give each other hugs.
Okay.
And fans are just like, "What's going on? You guys like this was kind of when the reality broke for a lot of people."
Yeah.
They're like, "You guys are supposed to hate each other. Why are you smiling? Why do you have your arms around each other with your hands up?
Yeah.
Like this is not okay." And so from that point on, it kind of transitioned of like, okay, we know it's fake, but we're still gonna treat it like, you know, it's still a form of storytelling.
Yeah, they're gonna go method.
Like you watch a movie and you know it's not Sam Jackson talking to Chris Evans. You see it beyond that.
Yeah.
But there was one story. I'll tell this one quick story. It's not really quick. I'll tell this one story, and then I'll let you go. But there was a wrestling story arc from a couple of years ago. Where it was a Japanese wrestler, and an American really looked up to him, and so he became a professional wrestler, and they became a tag team act.
Okay.
The two of them, and the story they crafted took years to finish. But the American always felt a little inferior compared to the Japanese wrestler. And so after like a year of together, they split and he joined the heels. And so then one of the main heels had to fight the Japanese wrestler, and he was supposed to sneak up and beat him, but he couldn't do it. And so he was kicked out of the heels group. And so he was kind of on his own for a little bit. And then, you know, kind of 2 or 3 years pass and they fight each other for the first time.
Okay.
And it was this huge emotional kind of, you know, fight. It was this huge emotional moment going on between them. The Japanese wrestler wins, and they go back to being like this unbeatable tag team. And it's kind of this beautiful story that they crafted.
Yeah.
That literally took like 6 years
That's
to
incredible.
tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, the more I learn about wrestling, the more I'm like, this is pretty cool. But I'm so far away from it, I can't start now.
That seems like a real deep fandom to have to try and dive into.
Yeah.
And you already have a number of deep fandoms, Cameron.
It's true.
I don't know how you could add another one into it.
So sorry for taking so long. What have you been watching, reading, listening?
I really don't have much. I did watch last night for the first time Ichabod and Mr. Toad, the Disney film.
Great movie.
49?
Yep. I mean, okay movie. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
the last of the missing 40s.
Yeah, it's fun because it's like 2 separate movies. Like lose like kind of the tying factor is that there's 2 different narrators and they're like, oh, what are your favorite books? And you never actually see the narrators. That just like a book slides off of a shelf, like a live action book slides off a shelf and opens up. And first we're talking about the craziest character in literature, which is J. Thaddeus Toad from The Wind in the Willows. And then they do the similar thing for Ichabod. And I don't know, they're both fun. I'll admit I was a little drunk when I was watching them, so I don't even.
That's fine.
A lot of the details of even like the Ichabod one, like I wasn't really paying super close attention. But what I found so surprising with the Mr. Toad one is like it has nothing to do with the ride.
Right.
Like there's very few similar plot points between the two of them. Like I love the ride because it ends with you like breaking out of jail and getting run over by a train and then you die and go to hell, and none of that happens in the movie, which I think even the movie is like the loosest version of The Wind in the Willows. So it's just this fascinating thing to me of this character in this story that like has all these iterations and none of them have anything to do with each other, but they're all the same thing, kind of. It's really bizarre, but it was a fun watch. Because I love Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. It's one of my favorite rides at Disneyland.
Yes.
And I have to admit, J. Thaddeus Toad is this fantastic character. Plus good old Angus McBadger. He tries so hard. He tries so hard to help things out. He just can't. And little mole like barely ever says anything. It's really adorable. It's pretty fun. But yeah, that's all I have actually. I really haven't had time for anything else other than that and watching Young Justice.
Great.
But finally got caught up on that. So we'll do season 3 soon. But I think that does it for us.
We did it. Wow, this episode was a little longer than we were ready for.
It's all good. We had a lot to talk about with.
We did.
It was surprising to talk about with Ace and so much to talk about with Young Justice.
That's right.
But yes, if you have any sort of questions for us or thoughts, or if you want to chime in on the what's better, Young Justice or DCAU,
please do.
debate,
Yeah.
I'm actually very curious about this. Maybe like put a poll out or something.
I feel like we're about to be blacklisted by our community.
Considering what the subject of this podcast is, probably. But yeah, let us know. And we are at Tim Talk Pod on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and and Gmail.
Yes.
If you want to send your ire personally directed at me, I am at Lord of Fur on Instagram and Twitter.
If you want to ask me more anime questions, you can send those to
Don't encourage him.
to either Cameron.Dexter or CamDexter_adventures.
Don't encourage him.
Please do. Please
Just makes
encourage
my
me.
life so much more
I
difficult.
love talking anime
Think about
so
how much
much.
time I gave you today to talk about anime.
I know. I really appreciate
You talked
it.
about Avatar. You talked
That's
about
not anime, Chris. That is not anime. Avatar is not the same thing. Not gonna get into that conversation right now.
We're about to start our own bitter rivalry on the podcast here. I'm clearly the heel in this situation.
Yes.
Clearly. But thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.